The ingredients that's needed to make this baked rotini is going to be 14.5 ounces of diced tomatoes in a can, or 15 ounces. Gonna need some extra virgin olive oil, one 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, one 6-ounce can of tomato paste, approximately half a cup of diced onions, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and some grated cheddar cheese. I'm going to have some cube cheddar cheese. This was a 1-pound block that I did. I cut it in half and cut half of the block in cubes, half of the block I shredded. This is 1 pound of ground turkey and 1 pound of ground beef. And the water here is from the cans that I rinsed. And this is approximately 2 cups of water with some of the tomato remnants from each can that I have right here of the tomato paste, tomato sauce, and the diced tomatoes. And that is the first step of getting the ingredients together for this recipe. We're going to start by preparing our water and going to boil our rotini according to the package instructions. Next, I'm going to prepare my pot for the tomato sauce. I'm going to pour approximately 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil in here because the ground turkey is 93% lean, so it's not a lot of fat, although the ground beef does have some fat, but I kind of want that flavor to go through both parts of the meat, the ground turkey and the ground beef. I'm going to begin by adding my diced onions and the garlic. Going to give that a little bit of a stir and let this cook and sweat some of that onions and the garlic, get it a little bit transparent before I add my meat. Now that our garlic and our onions are a little translucent, I didn't mean to say transparent in the beginning. Now that they're translucent a little bit, now I'm going to add my meat. Going to add both portions in there, and we're going to break that up. Now, to kind of give this meat a little bit of a sausage type flavor, I have crushed up approximately 1/4 of a teaspoon of fennel seed. I used my index finger and my thumb and just kind of crushed it up really well or coarsely. And I'm just going to add that to the meat. And with that meat, I'm going to add my salt and pepper. And you can add according to your taste. I'm going to add some of this Garden Fresh seasoning mix here. And this is just all estimates, so I'm going to say about 1 teaspoon of each of these seasonings. Of the garden, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of my salad and vegetable blend herb mix here, and approximately 1 teaspoon of low sodium Slap Yo Mama seasoning. Because we want this meat to be layered with the flavors as well as in the sauce. So I'm just going to go and mash this all up, and I'm going to go ahead and let this cook. Now that our meat is now brown, we're going to go ahead and start adding our tomato sauces and stuff. So we're going to start out with 1 heaping tablespoon of that tomato paste. I'm not going to use the whole 6-ounce can of tomato paste. So it's going to be about 3 ounces that is going to be used of the tomato paste. Next, I'm going to add my diced tomatoes. I'm going to use the whole can for that. Then next, our tomato sauce. After you give your meat a good stir, your sauce should look similar to this. But we're going to add some seasonings to this sauce now. And we're going to go back to our Italian seasoning. Going to add 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. 1 teaspoon of our Garden Fresh vegetable herb seasoning. 1 teaspoon of our salad and vegetable herb blend. 1 teaspoon of low sodium Slap Yo Mama seasoning. And what the big debate is usually is for spaghetti. I'm going to add some sugar. Now this sugar is supposed to help cut some of that bitterness that comes from the tomato sauce and from the tomato paste. Just like a lot of people will add a pinch of salt when they're baking, I feel that a pinch of sugar to the tomato sauce will help balance that bitter, sharp flavor of the tomato sauce. Now, I'm just going to add half of that. That was approximately 1 to 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, I will taste this to see if it's balanced out properly before I add any more. But I'm going to give this a good stir, and I'm going to let this cook for about 2 minutes before I taste it, because I want to make sure that the sugars are all mixed in. While the sauce is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and add my pasta to this. It has come to a boil, and I'm going to stir this and let that cook according to the package. Okay, a minute has gone by, actually 2 minutes, and the sauce is perfect. So I will not need to add any more sugar to this. But I am going to add just a little bit of this water here. Not much, because the texture of it, I don't want it to be too watery. Which I'm going to add a little bit of cornstarch to this to help thicken this sauce up some more. But also the starch from the pasta is going to help this sauce connect to it really well. So it may look watery now, but it's going to still balance out once I add the starches and the cornstarch and a little bit of the pasta starch. I'm going to go ahead and let this sauce simmer for about 10 minutes. And then I'll add my cornstarch for a thickening agent. Okay, the pasta has completely cooked. Actually, I stopped allowing the cooking process about 2 minutes before the completion of it, because I do not want the pasta to become mushy. So if the package says cook for 8 to 10 minutes, I cooked it for about a good 6 to 7 minutes. That way it still maintains some firmness, but it'll be perfect and finish cooking in the oven once the sauce is on there. So now that we are back to the sauce, it has been about 10 minutes, and you can see that some of the sauce has reduced. I let it simmer uncovered during that time, and now I'm going to add the cornstarch, which is 1 tablespoon of powdered cornstarch to 1 tablespoon of water, and I stir that up, and I'm going to mix that into here. Now this will help thicken the sauce, and we're going to add the sauce to the pasta. Now we're not rinsing the pasta, because we want the starches from the pasta to also help thicken this sauce as well. So now that that is mixed, I am going to go and add this to our pot here with the pasta. And I'm only adding a portion of it because I want to make sure that I don't add too much. You're going to want to make sure that you add the pasta sauce a little bit at a time. I'm going to go ahead and add some of my diced cheese to this, because this is going to also be mixed into the pasta, because this is going to bake really well in the oven. I have my oven also preheated at 375. So now that I added some of the cheese to this, I'm going to go ahead and add some more sauce, because this is not enough sauce for this pasta. So now I'm adding some more sauce. And you just kind of want to make sure that you don't add too much, because you want to make sure that you have enough sauce, but not too much sauce where your pasta is super soupy. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and just stir this and go back and forth and stir and add my cheese until it's time to put it in the oven. Okay, I just finished adding the sauce to my pasta. Still have a little bit of sauce left, not much, but this is how your pasta should look. So now I'm going to top it with some of the cheese that I have grated. And this is going to bake and become all nice and cheesy. So of course I do have the cubes of cheese throughout the pasta mix. But you want to also add some on top. This is going to be such a delicious dish. Now this pot is oven safe. It is my copper chef pot. So if you have a nice baking dish that you can use on top of the stove and in your oven, that is the perfect thing to use for this. Or if you don't, you know, that just means you might have a few more dishes to wash, but I'm gonna make sure this is good and covered with the cheese. And now to garnish this with some more of my little vegetable blend herb mix. This is optional. This is just something that I wanted to do to give it that little bit of color. And now this is going to go in the oven and bake for 20 minutes at 375, and it should be nice and bubbly, and we'll pull it out to see how it looks for the final product. So once you take your baked rotini out of the oven, this is how it looks. Don't it look delicious? Now all you have to do is just let this rest for about a good 10 minutes before you go digging into it. But your family will enjoy this with a side dish of salad or garlic bread, some corn on the cob, whatever vegetable that you plan to have. If you like this video, you know what to do. Click like, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned for more videos that are coming up. Thank you for watching, and God bless.